So in the last video, we took a look at text formatting. And what we're going to do now is format numbers. So we're going to go right into Design View for work orders because we do have some numeric fields in here. And the formatting codes are a little bit different for numbers. So we're going to go into rate. And you'll notice that it has a format of currency. So we're just going to get rid of that. And we're going to specify our own little custom format. And the two symbols that are used for numbers are the pound sign, also known as the hashtag, or a 0. And the difference is the hashtag can represent multiple numbers. And if you use the 0, you can use that for a single number. So every time you put a 0, it is expecting a digit. And if the digit doesn't exist, it's going to fill it in with a 0. So what we want is a hashtag, and that represents multiple digits. And we want that before the decimal. So we're going to do hashtag with a period for our decimal. And then after the decimal, we always want 2 digits to display. So we're going to do 2 zeros here. Okay, so we've got the hashtag .00. We also want this to display in blue. So the little bracket with the name of the color works here for numbers just like it did for text. Now, to make number formatting complicated, because you probably are thinking, oh, that's pretty simple. I just have to remember hashtag or 0. Well, they've decided to make this a little bit more complex because you can specify a format for positive numbers, which we've done. You can specify a format for negative numbers. You can specify a format for 0 values. And you can specify a format for null or nothing. So they've made it a little more complicated. Between each of these formats, you have to put a semicolon. So we've got our positive format, and that's always first. And we're going to do a semicolon. Next, we would specify how we wanted negative numbers to look. In this case, we're not going to have negative numbers. So we're just going to put in a semicolon. After the negative numbers, you have to tell it how 0 values should look. Well, we're not going to have any 0 values. So we're going to put in another semicolon. What you put in last is how you want null entries displayed. And a null entry is when nothing is entered. And we do not require the user to fill in rate. So they very well could tab right over the top of it. So if they don't enter anything at all, in double quotes, we're going to display not available. Okay, and that is the breakdown of this little formula that they want you to enter. So it's kind of confusing. Okay, so what comes before the first semicolon is what you want done when it's a positive number. Okay. After that first semicolon, you would enter how you wanted a negative displayed. After that second semicolon, you're entering how you want 0 values displayed. And after the third semicolon, you're entering how you want null or nothing displayed. Okay, so that was actually a lot more work than it looked. So we're going to save our change. So for numbers, you have the hashtag or the 0. The other symbol that is available that we did not use is a % sign. And this basically will just display a decimal percentage in a more human readable format with a % sign. So if you entered like 0.12 with the %, it'll display as 12%. And we don't have a percentage, so I can't really show you that one. But I'm going to save this. And let's see, other changes they would like made. They want us to activate hours. And they would like this to be changed from long integer here to double. And the reason we're making that change is a long integer. Integers are whole numbers. They don't store decimals. And it is conceivable that for hours they could have portions of an hour. So by changing it to double, we are allowing some decimal values. And then for the format down here, we're going to click on the arrow. And they would like the standard format, which basically for a long number we'll put in a comma, and it will also display 2 decimals. Then for decimal places, the default, as you can see, is 0, so we're going to change it to 2. Because our whole reason for changing from long integer to double was so they could enter decimal places. So pretty frustrating for the user if they can type them in, but then they can't see them. So make sure you change the decimal places to 2. And we're going to save our changes, and we're going to go over to Datasheet View. We're going to go ahead and key in a record. And now we're going to check out the decimal, which does work, and our rate, which does display in blue with the 2 decimals showing. Now, to try to widen these to see all of the comments, it's going to make it hard to see everything else. Depending on the size of the comment. Close this. Yeah, at this point you can pretty much see everything, but I do have a wide monitor, so don't worry, if you have to scroll to see all of yours. At this point, we've entered the record. We've verified that hours and rate do indeed work. So we're going to go ahead and save our changes, and we will close this table.